A 1% fee, 1%, will cost you $821,000 over your investing lifetime. Not a typo. $821,000. And right now, one of the most famous names in personal finance is telling millions of people to pay it. Let me show you the actual math, because nobody else will. So this week, Caleb Hammer versus Dave Ramsey is all over the finance internet, US. News even ran a full comparison of their investing advice. Everyone's arguing about the drama. Nobody's arguing about the math. So let's do that. Picture Maya. She's 27, makes $62,000 a year as a project coordinator, and she just paid off her last credit card using Ramsey's baby steps, which, credit where it's due, genuinely work for getting out of debt. Now she's got $500 a month freed up and she's ready to invest. She follows the Ramsey playbook: find good growth stock mutual funds through an advisor. The funds she's shown have solid track records and expense ratios around 1%, sometimes with a sales load on top. 1%. Maya shrugs. What's 1%? A rounding error, right? That shrug, that exact moment, is the single most expensive decision Maya will make in her entire life. More expensive than any car. More expensive than most houses. And she'll never see it happen, because it never shows up as a line item anywhere. Here's the mechanism, and once you see it you can't unsee it. Fees don't subtract from your money, they compound against it, using the exact same magic that makes investing work in the first place. Think of your portfolio as a snowball rolling downhill for 40 years. Compound growth is the hill. A 1% annual fee is someone shaving a thin layer off your snowball every single lap. Year 1, the shaving is tiny. On $6,000, it's about $60. Who cares? But here's the trap: every dollar shaved off doesn't just disappear once. It disappears along with every dollar it would have earned, and every dollar those dollars would have earned, for 4 straight decades. The fee compounds. By year 30, that tiny 1% is skimming thousands of dollars a year off a snowball that should have been much, much bigger. Meanwhile, a broad index fund, a fund that just buys the whole market instead of paying a manager to guess, charges around 0.03%. That's not 1% versus nothing. That's 1% versus 0.03%. The active fund has to beat the market by more than 1% every year, forever, just to break even with the boring option. And the data is brutal on this. Per the Spiva scorecards, roughly 90% of actively managed funds lose to their index over 20 years. You're paying a premium fee for coin flip odds, worse than coin flip odds. Now, the 2 objections you're already thinking. First, but Ramsey says his funds average 12%. Here's the problem with that number: it's typically based on a simple average of historical returns, not the compound annual growth rate you actually experience. The S&P 500's long-run compound return is closer to 10% before inflation. Plan around 12%, and you'll undersave for decades and find out at 60. I run all my math at 10% because I'd rather you be pleasantly surprised than quietly broke. Second objection: what if the market crashes? It will. Probably several times before you retire. But notice, a crash hits the expensive fund and the cheap fund equally. The market doesn't care what fees you're paying. A crash is temporary, a 1% fee is permanent. It bills you in bull markets, bear markets, sideways markets every single year, no matter what. The crash isn't the thing quietly draining your account. The fee is. So the real question isn't active or passive, Ramsey or Hammer. It's, do you want to pay 33 times more for a product that statistically underperforms? Time for the real math, the reason this channel exists. Scenario 1, Maya's full plan. $500 a month, from age 27 to 67, 40 years. In a low-cost index fund earning the market's 10% average, the future value formula gives $500 times 1.00833 carat 480 minus 1, divided by 0.00833. That's 480 monthly deposits. Compounding at 10% annually, which comes out to $3,162,000. Same $500, same market, same 40 years, but in an active fund netting 9% after that 1% fee, $500 times 1.0075 carat 480 minus 1, divided by 0.0075, equals $2,341,000. Identical effort. Identical discipline. Identical market. The difference, $821,000. Maya pays more than the price of a house for the privilege of a fund manager who, 9 times out of 10, loses to the index anyway. Scenario 2, for anyone thinking I can't do $500, $200 a month, same 40 years. At 10%, $1,265,000. At 9% after fees, $936,000. Difference, $329,000. On $200 a month. Even the small plan loses $350,000 to a fee that fits inside a rounding error. Run this on any compound interest calculator, I want you to check me. That's the deal here, real numbers, always verifiable. So here's your one action step, 4 minutes, start to finish. Go to fidelity.com or your existing brokerage. Search FSKX as Fidelity's Total Market Index Fund, 0.015% expense ratio, or VTI if you prefer an ETF. Buy $50 worth. Then set up an automatic monthly investment of whatever you can sustain, $50, $200, $500. Done. No advisor meeting, no sales load, no 1% haircut for 40 years. If your money's already sitting in a high-fee fund, look up its expense ratio today. It's one Google search, and if it starts with anything other than a 0.0, you now know exactly what that's costing you, up to $821,000. Subscribe for one money idea every day, real math, no fluff. And drop your money question in the comments. I read every single one.